We turn now to day 100 for our commander-in-chief. When President Obama took office back in January, he and his staff hit the ground running, and that pathway definitely not a smooth one. There have been plenty of problems inside and outside the West Wing so far. So how is he handling the stress? Our Suzanne Malveaux here now in New York with a look at all of that. Boy, I mean, he came into office. It's like, how much can you put on one plate?
You can't believe it's just been 100 days, really. But covering President Obama for a year on the campaign, I learned how he evolved as a candidate. He was honing his message for change, motivating new people to get involved. Now, covering him for the first 100 days, we're learning what kind of leader he's becoming by seeing how he handles crisis.
This was a mistake. I think I screwed up. And I take responsibility for it. And we're going to make sure we fix it so it doesn't happen again.
Certainly not what you'd expect from your commander-in-chief. But for President Obama, holding himself and his administration accountable has been a hallmark of his first 100 days.
Nice, guys.
Since taking office in January, it has been on-the-job crisis management training for him and his staff. 6 of his top picks ran into trouble, 4 for not paying taxes. Historians say it was Obama's mea culpa that saved him.
He's made some pretty serious mistakes, particularly in cabinet appointments, but he was able very quickly to admit his mistakes.
Mr. Obama's approach in times of crisis reveals how he leads. He's had to balance delivering bad news while calling for calm and confronting the economic meltdown and now the swine flu outbreak.
And this is obviously a cause for concern and requires a heightened state of alert. But it's not a cause for alarm.
President Obama got high marks for using that calm in his first international crisis. Of all things, pirates who took an American captain hostage.
I'm very proud.
He laid low until after the rescue. Some see the president's cautious approach as disconcerting.
Some in Washington are asking, is he weak? And others are asking, is he too meek?
Others question whether he's playing politics by not immediately being forthcoming.
It took us a couple of days because I like to know what I'm talking about before I speak.
How he speaks is a big part of his success, says body language expert T.J. Walker.
He strides up there, completely calm, not rushed, $1 million smile on his face, and that just makes people feel more comfortable, especially in these trying times.
Walker says the president's body language is appropriate, unlike that of his predecessor.
There was a strikingly horrific picture on Chancellor Merkel's face when President Bush came up to her, put his hands on her back, and she looked like that.
President Obama also uses subtle gestures to express his displeasure.
He doesn't have to stand up and say, Vice President Biden, don't say that. Simply by shaking his head, he's showing mild disapproval. Everything is in sync, so he knows when to touch his vice president. He knows when to shake the hands of a foreign leader and when not to rub their back. He's consistently appropriate.
President Obama has a lot ahead in the next 100 days, most immediately bailing out the auto industry. Tomorrow's Chrysler's deadline to prove it's making the kinds of changes needed to become eligible for billions more dollars in government money. GM's deadline is a month later. Also next week, we're going to find out the health of the banks. Certainly a lot on his plate the next 100 days.
Yeah.